part 2 of 10 ways to get ready for love with Miss Rita Stewart. The first 5 were great areas to check ourselves on: patience, nonviolent communication, financial sustainability, authenticity, health, and fitness. So get ready for the next 5. And then our second half is Girl Talk with Nicole Williams, Paige Ward, and myself. And we have some intriguing and controversial topics we're going to discuss. We've got a great show for you. So if you would like to participate on the show today, you can call in. You can call us at 401-702-GENT. That's 401-702-GENT. All right, so let's get to it. How are you today, Miss Rita?
I am doing absolutely well. Thank
Oh,
you for asking.
okay. Well, that is a great thing. I am glad that you are well, and I am so looking forward to this part 2 of how you get ready.
Yes, indeed. I am looking forward to it as well. And it seems like, the whole month has been these topics coming up in conversation with people. Have you
Mm.
noticed that? Like,
Yeah,
oh, yeah, we
I was
go
just
ahead.
listening to something yesterday. We're talking about rejection and
Hmm.
how people handle it, and the lady on there was saying, how about talking about how to get ready, and therapy is one of those ways, because she said, the molestation and the physical and verbal and emotional financial abuse, and all of the traumas that people go through, and no one ever does anything. She was like, good luck with dating out there, be careful.
Girl, and all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is, why we left off our last show asking you, were you able to identify your own patterns,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And what 5 areas do you actually see that you need to work on? Now that's something that you create for yourself. And then, yeah, you get a coach, you go to a therapist, whatever that is, you begin to point to those areas for your own self growth and development.
Yes.
Right. So, and that's what I love about your show is that we get to bring things to the surface for people to work on so that they can actually get in tune with themselves and get ready for the love. Here's the thing about getting ready. It's like when you get to the point that you are so present to love within yourself, it shows up every place.
Mm.
It's all over. So it's not just in one particular person that you're now seeking. You just want to be able to express love.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a missing anymore,
Mm-hmm.
right? And usually that's the space that, somebody wants to step into instead of that neediness, that drain, that, oh, I wish I had somebody. That's a whole different energy.
It is.
Yeah. So, so now,
Mhm.
did you actually do the work for last month? Did you find a chance to list 5 things that you need to work on? Or at least tell us one thing so people can know that we still do our work.
Well, I know that I have a couple things that I definitely need to work on. And as far as healing, I have kind of not that I'm not healing, but I've kind of deflected my attention to other things versus working on becoming or remaining vulnerable. I have to be open to be vulnerable in order to, receive love. I have so much love to give, and I want to be loved in return, but I'm I have become unwilling to be vulnerable because the thought of going through the heartbreak of it potentially, it derails me from being focused on it.
Yes.
So that's one thing I know that I need to work on. And in conjunction with that, I am still really working on my need to be loved. I mean, I definitely love myself more. But you're aware of my childhood. And so I really
Hmm.
had a need to feel loved and be loved. Um, and so I've sought that in a lot of my relationships. I've gone with the person that I felt really loved me the most. I mean, which is a good thing, but on the flip side, my reasons behind it was because I had a void. And so I needed to love myself to fill that void so that I can actually enjoy the love on a different realm, and not that it completes me, but it adds to me. And I know you know what I'm saying.
Yes, I know exactly what you're saying, and
Hmm.
that's a wonderful space to be in too. Because actually, when we're present to ourselves and present to what we need for our own existence, that fulfillment actually takes a hold of us the whole day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it really does provide something. It gives us a little touch of living too. So we're not trying to take it from somebody else or
Mm-hmm.
from something else. We're giving it to ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I love that you're doing that.
There was a guy on this show I was watching, and it reminded me of something that you told me a long time ago, because it's about to me, I look at it as part of self-care. But
Hmm.
when you are into self-care, then people tend to call you selfish as well, right? And
Yes.
so I totally agree with what this guy said. And I've said it before, actually, but I didn't say it on as large of a platform as he said it yesterday. And someone asked him, because he's a guy, and he's actually a multimillionaire. He's a young black guy in his 30s. I don't know how he made his money, but they were talking about, forgot what they're talking about. But anyway, they asked him, when he meets women, is he kind of shut down or defensive, because he feels like people are after his money or whatever, right? And he said, no, he said, that's not it at all. He said, I don't go into any encounter with anything in mind. He said, the only thing I have in mind is to learn who this person is. And they said, so what about what, she wants? Do you think about what she wants? He said, I don't think about what she wants. He said, I think about what she's bringing when I get to know her, if what she's bringing aligns with what I want for my life. And everybody kind of looked at him side eye, but I totally understood what he said, because when you are choosing someone, you have to think about if they fit for you. But we get
That's
so
it.
caught up on, oh, this person looks like this and said this and the sex was like this. And he was like, no, I'm not getting all of that stuff. I'm looking at, he said he's been very intentional all his life, and he's that way in relationships as well. He lets people be who they are. He's not trying to make you into anybody. He don't have no
Yeah.
laying down these rules, in order for a woman to date me, she got to be XYZ. No, because he said
No.
it's all about how they make you feel.
Yes.
And if they
And then guess
align
and
with,
that is so beautiful because the universe is always giving us expanded experiences.
uh-huh,
It ain't supposed to be the same.
right, right,
I don't want you
right,
to go to you meet somebody new, but oh, you wanted to be the same relationship you had with your ex,
right,
but better, right? No.
right, right. So yeah, it was, I liked what he said. Everybody kind of gave him the side eye because it sounded a little selfish, I guess, to the average ear, but it
Yeah.
sounded perfectly right to me, because you do have to take yourself into consideration when you choosing somebody. It don't matter how much they want you. That's not what it's about.
That's not what it's all about. And I'm so grateful that you mentioned that because most of us are always trying to get someone to want us, right? Instead of realizing, wait a minute, even if I get this person, do I really want them? Because
Right.
sometimes people are just about to chase,
Yep.
and then or the competition,
Yep.
or let me see if I can just do this. Let me see, let me try it on with no intention whatsoever of participating in growing that person or nurturing that person or even allowing themselves to be nurtured by that person.
And
Now that's selfish.
I think a
you
lot
know,
of times people don't even know what they actually want in a relationship or a person, or
yeah,
how that person aligns in their life. They just so stuck on, oh, I'm 30, I'm supposed to be in a relationship, I'm supposed to
yeah,
be married. So they just fill in that spot because they think they're supposed to have this, and they fill it with whoever come along.
yeah. Or the opposite of that, oh, I really want a relationship, but I'm scared of being hurt. So I'm just going to hang out, without really investing anything into people.
You
You
trying to talk
know,
about me on the sly?
is that what you've been doing? You've been collecting people.
I have, you know what? I don't collect them. I had some stalkers in my life, so I don't collect them. I play a little while and I toss them back.
I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he said, you one of my favorite friends to talk to. I said, don't you know everybody tell me that? I say, and he said, I bet they do. I said, yeah. I said, now, you know why I don't like talking to you?
Ooh.
He said, why don't you like talking to me? I said, because you're always picking my brain.
Oh yeah.
You trying to get information about something you're working on. And
Mm.
he's working on a dynamic, uh, an awesome science project about poop, and I'm just like, I say, I can't even talk to anybody about what you talk to me about because it's so far fetched,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
and then you want to talk 2 hours for shit about shit, right?
Man, you know what? That sounds like somebody we both know.
Oh well, no, because we get some depth, but I can't go deep in. I'm talking about some real doo doo. I'm talking about the real stuff you poop out of your body doo doo.
Yep, 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 yep,
Oh yeah, we do talk to him about that too, don't
yep,
we?
yep. I was just about to say I've had some in-depth conversations with that person about that.
No, but this dude is making a contraption. I mean, it's just, he was look at this, look at this. I'm like, oh, okay, you know. However, when you mentioned being vulnerable, I actually do my best to stay present to being vulnerable almost every place
Mm.
because then you don't have to work so hard at it. Even allowing my relationship to deepen with my grandchildren is inside of that conversation. Allowing them to be themselves and even when they throw me under the bus, not to like, okay. She just threw her Mima under the bus. Oh,
Oh, pull Mima under the bus. Good Lord. Get Mima from under the bus.
but that little sensitivity, and let it go. Let it be okay. You know what I'm saying? Just allow myself to not feel attacked or defensive. It's really such a nice, soft space to be in.
But do you feel like sometimes, for me, you know, and again, my background. So I've been emotionally detached since I was 12. And so for
Yes,
me to not connect is actually a comfortable spot for me because I lived in that space for so long. I lived in that space
yes.
until I went through certification class, you know,
Wow.
and then
Yeah.
I had to force myself out of that space just so that I could, get the maximum benefit from what I learned. And so it's easier for me to not be vulnerable. So
That's right.
I don't work hard to not be vulnerable. I could just resort to where I've
And
been.
that's what I'm saying. I want you to actually allow more vulnerability. Allow yourself to feel unsafe, uncomfortable, and
Mm.
then move into that with like internalize it. Like I've been stuck in downtown Detroit in the middle of the night with a mini skirt on and, and outside
Mm. Yeah,
all
okay.
night. Okay. Knowing that, okay, this could go a certain way, but I'm going to keep it on this. Pulling that light down, move it, you know what I'm saying? Allowing myself to practice feeling secure when you're uncertain and unsafe. It's very empowering. It's very empowering. It really speaks to that when we talk about no rescuing, then that also makes yourself not needing to be rescued.
I've I've gotten really good with going with the flow,
Yes.
and not overthinking things. I I know the universe is going to align in my favor. Even though it may
Yes.
not look like it at that moment, I've learned to go with the flow enough where it's like, okay, well, this happened. So something else must be going to happen down the road. And sure enough, something else happens that thing positioned me for. So I've
Yes.
learned to go with that flow, but I've not yet gotten to the place where just being vulnerable emotionally is comfortable.
No, and it takes a minute. I'm not saying to jump out there in that. It took me, I think I was 35 when I realized that I had shut myself down at the age of 5 after, visiting my mother in a mental institution, and she's saying, "Well, who are you?" I mean,
Mm,
that emptied me,
mhm.
and it wasn't just her words, but it was the feeling of not being known, not being seen, not being recognized by someone that you love so much.
Not belonging, not being
That long, I
accepted.
mean, it was just done. And then, not to mention, I had to go into this whole survival mode on my own. There was nobody looking out for me. So
Mm,
I realized that at 5, I was just like, ain't nobody here for me. This is it.
yep.
And then you get to 35 when I did the landmark forum, and I realized, oh my God, I had been treating my relationship with my mom like she abandoned me instead of she got sick,
Mm,
which is a completely different level of compassion.
true.
You see? And I was able to then, go back and do some rework. Because it's not enough just to know something. You have to go back and look and see, who did I become when I was abandoned, when I was neglected. Those ways of being no longer serve you. And you have to make sure you're moving them out of the way, because a lot of time our self-worth get wrapped in that,
Mhm.
or we get saddled in the shame of it.
Mhm.
So you have to go back and say, okay, who was that little girl, and what does she need now? What can I provide for her? So yeah, I'm not telling you to just jump out and be vulnerable. I'm saying practice it. Like, really allow yourself. Like, I like for people to know that I'm 100% right there all the time. Good, bad, and ugly. If I'm in your space, I'm 100%.
If I don't see the potential for, okay, with my friends,
Yeah,
I'm there with them. It's only
right.
that, romantic kind of love that kind of sets off
And
some.
see, I don't see how you guys can separate. So we're gonna have to deepen this conversation that people actually turn off themselves when they think there's a potential for romance, as
Because to me it's
compared
a
to,
different kind of, it's a slightly different kind of vulnerability. With my friends, the
yeah.
expectations are different, for and I think
Key
that
word there is expectations. Yes.
yes, and I think that I should be friends with whomever I'm in a relationship with, but it's still slightly different. And like someone was saying on that conversation yesterday, well, somebody told me a long time ago that there was piss in the dating pool. And then yesterday, this guy said that the market is dirty. And so when you are out here in all of this, in a certain age group, and everybody's carrying around this trauma, and nobody's healed, and nobody's seeking therapy, and you're trying to date these people, like that lady said, she was like, good luck out here trying to date these people who are hurt and not healed. And then so with me knowing this, and then making myself vulnerable to somebody who's probably already hurt and not healed,
But
it's
see, but you wouldn't have to making yourself vulnerable and being vulnerable are two different things. Because if you're meeting someone,
mhm.
the trust factor for you would automatically know that the universe is sending people into your space for a reason.
But I'm not
You
sure
know,
how much. I'm not sure what it feels like at the end.
exactly. So
That
it doesn't, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be romance. But what there is inside of a conversation, you get to actually explore. But you don't have to have the expectation of romance or friendship. It really is just an exploration and discovery of, who is this person?
kind of like that guy was saying. He just wants to find out who you are. So if it does go
Yes.
in that
And then
direction,
see
you
where it
get the
goes.
core.
Right. We don't, yeah, it takes a long time before. I mean, people move too fast for me, if you
Mhm.
ask me, it's like all of a sudden, oh yeah, I like you, bam, and then all of a sudden it's like, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like this, I don't like that. Yeah, well, that's because you didn't get to know the person.
Right. Yeah, for him to be so young, he said a lot of good stuff because he was saying when he meets a woman, he said, I'm just getting to know her and stuff. And you can tell the difference in women. He said, I can meet a woman and I know, oh yeah, if something goes down, she gonna go all the way to the left. I can already tell by her personality and attitude who she could be, if things go bad. And then you can meet another person, he said, and you know that, even if things go bad, she's gonna still have a certain amount of respect and decorum in handling the situation just because of who she is at the core, her beliefs and all of that kind of stuff, what she was taught and where she's from. So you can really tell, these two different kind of people or
And
whatever.
you can see all that through observation. You can just observe a person with a group of people and sum them up too. So that's why it's so good when you have these parties and these singles events. Why it's good to have those and create opportunities for people to get to know each other, because you get to see how they act with this person, how they act with that person, who's lying to everybody in the room, because that goes on too, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So that's great. Yeah, I love that. But we're working on being vulnerable, and being vulnerable is different from actually allowing yourself. You don't have to be vulnerable to anyone, but expressing yourself, self-expression, letting people see the real you, authentic expression, all of that's a form of vulnerability. But no
Well,
one can hurt you without your permission. I think I said that to you 1,000 times. Right.
well, that's I don't give nobody permission.
Yeah.
I,
You
I,
don't
I
give them permission,
don't give
but that doesn't. But then you also don't give them permission, and you don't give them access.
that's
So
that's right. I don't give them permission. I don't give them access. We clear that there will be no hurt, nothing over here.
no, well, see, yeah,
Mm.
we need a session because you have that defiance is in there. You just really.
You know what? Sometimes, and I go back and forth on it, and
Mm,
sometimes I feel like that 12-year-old girl. When my mom used to say lots of stuff that would hurt my feelings, and then one day
yes,
I was like, you know what? I'm gonna whatever this is, I'm about to shut it down, so that whatever she says to me don't matter. And so sometimes I feel like that little girl that I just need to shut it. And it's not that anybody has said anything to hurt me. It's just that when I think back, okay, this is not a session anyway, but sometimes when I think back over relationships in general, so I was married and my husband was killed. So that whole thing happened right there. That's a certain level of pain, but then there's also a certain level of, to me, almost responsibility that came along with that I still had to maintain a certain standard. And then moving forward, I was somewhat shut down to people who didn't meet that standard, And so now, as you're out here and you're meeting people, I meet people, but I don't even allow it to pretty much even go that way. And I feel some kind of way about that because I know that I can't get to love, and I have so much love to give. I want to give all this love to somebody who deserves it.
but you got to open to receive too. Love is reciprocity. You
And
got
I
to
want
give
to
it and
receive
get
it.
it. Okay.
I definitely want to receive it as well. However, it don't really seem like it's a whole lot of folks out there that's really got love that they want to give. They got their issues that they want to give. And I'd rather just stay focused on,
But see, I want you to be clear that you will create the environment that you are present to. So that's why I
yeah,
don't like to get in groups and conversation, because I don't want somebody else coloring my experience.
yeah.
You don't get to tell me that the dating game is pissed off. I only need one. I'm not looking for the 12 that's peeing in the pool.
You
You know
kind of
what I'm
just,
saying?
when I look back over, and I don't want to call them all failed relationships, because they
Yeah, you were
didn't
learning. Yeah.
in marriage or anything like that. But there was a level of disappointment in all of them though. And so when you
Yeah, but
start
was that disappointment set up by expectations and lack of communication? Because people are going to grow and expand inside of relationships given the opportunity to do that. No
uh,
one's coming into a relationship perfect in your eyesight. Love is not about perfection. Love is about generating a connection that can evolve the most beautiful experience that two people are willing to work to create.
mm.
The magic is in the couple. It's not in the individual person. Both people have to be engaged.
And I think that's why both people have to really be seeking to be healed so that
Yes.
you are not, forming what has been called trauma bonds. And
Yeah.
I know that I had a trauma bond with in one of my relationships because we were both going through a heartbreak, and we were friends, and it kind of drew us together. And in the end, we wound up as a couple when we really should have stayed friends.
Yeah. I did one of those before. Yeah. And
And so
but
that
guess
was
how much you learned?
I learned a lot. You know what? Honestly, as we were sitting here talking, I'm like, even though I say that there's been lots of disappointment, and I started having relationships young. My first relationship was at 15. And I was pretty much in relationships all the way through until maybe 2 years ago, with
Wow.
very short periods of actually being single. And so that's where maybe my idea comes that it's just been a lot of disappointments, and I'm not even, yeah, I'm confused. I'm not even the one that's trying to be married necessarily. I just want that special person in my life. But
Hmm.
with all of those relationships, I did learn something out of each one, if no more than what I do like and what I don't like,
Exactly.
you know. And I learned about myself, apparently I'm pretty assertive.
Oh, okay. How long did you take to get that lesson?
I don't know. I guess that Leo comes out sometime. I don't know.
Now and then. Okay.
That's so
But
funny.
you see, the part of you that is afraid to be seen because you don't want her to be heard, that's the part that needs to play some
That's the part that needs what?
to play.
That's the part that needs to play. Mm,
Yes, she needs to play.
she needs more.
Because it's you got you it sounds like you know you have so much seriousness tied up inside of looking and trying to find the right person with it. Sometimes it's like just play, just just be and play in life.
I'm
Just
not
have
even
some fun.
looking, but it seems
You're
like
not looking. You're not looking. However, the so you're not looking, but suppose the desire that you feel is that someone looking for you.
so. Here's what happens when I meet men, and I meet nice guys,
Mhm.
but they want more. And as soon as I know they want more, then I'm just like,
And what? Do you stop talking to them?
yeah, most of the time. Yeah, I do.
And is it because there was no attraction for that person?
Oftentimes that is what I believe I say. I'm not always sure that that's actually the truth. I'm not sure if when they tell me that, they want more or whatever, if that in itself is actually the turnoff for me or the trigger at this point in my life. I'm not really sure because in order for me to actually wind up on a date, I had to have had some attraction in the first place. And attraction can't be, 100% of it. It's also about how people make you feel and how they treat you, and if you're
Hmm.
going to
Hmm.
grow together, if
Hmm.
your vision aligns, your goals and all that kind of stuff. But for me, it seems sometimes as soon as that whole relationship word comes into play, as soon as I want to spend more time with you comes into play, and I start to think, oh, that means that they might get close to me. And as soon as I start to think that, then I'm like, no, his head is too
Yeah,
good.
so it's almost like you are literally afraid of relationship.
I've been in so many.
Okay, so do you know there's many more to be in? I
Man,
mean,
I
geez,
don't
come on.
I don't want anything that generates pain, Miss Rita.
Oh Lord. You better go and listen to some Frankie Beverly. Blood and pain, sunshine. Something
Right.
like that.
Oh my God. Yeah, so
You know, it's all relative.
those are the things I
Okay.
need to correct.
Those are things you need to correct because if you are afraid of pain, there's not very much you're going to get out of living because on the other side of joy is what pain. And the deeper you can go into pain, the deeper you can experience joy.
Oh, but I have a great life. I have great fun. I just keep
Hmm.
some relationship types at bay. But
Yeah. But don't be surprised if the universe catch you off guard. Okay. Because the
it probably
universe is
will,
known.
because that's how
Yeah,
it
it's known
always
to be
happens for
like,
me.
you
That's how
know,
it always happens.
I remember making a statement, a few years ago. Yeah, I'm good. If I don't be in a relationship until I die, I'm all right. I can do another 50 years by myself. I'm good.
You told me that once.
Right. And that's exactly, and then all of a sudden, I started talking to somebody and ended up, I said, okay, I guess I'm not done. Something's missing. I see that now. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not, but like you, I'm not gonna go look for it.
right. It's just gonna have to
However,
happen.
yes, I'm gonna make myself available. I can now stop saying, "Oh, there's nothing out there for me."
And I don't
However,
believe that it's nothing out there for me. I just
no,
know that that's one of the things I need to correct, because I know that there probably is a lot of stuff out there for me. Who knows, who's out there for me,
and
but
there's
will
the
I
rare.
be
There has
able
to be
to?
a rare. Do you see how rare you are? Do you see how rare Xavier Fox is?
Um, um, I've
You're
heard
kind
that
of rare.
before. I've
No,
heard.
no, listen, you better know that about yourself. Don't have me fly into Chicago just to do another session on that.
I've heard that before, but I like to think that. Well, I know I'm not average. I know that much.
No, and I'm not sitting here. Everybody's special. So let's get that out the way. This
Okay,
is this
okay,
is not saying you're better than anyone
okay,
or anything like that.
okay, okay.
However, you are rare compared to where other people are inside of the work that they're doing
Mm,
and what they're generating in life and what they're contributing.
mm-hmm.
Most people are just going to work picking up a paycheck.
Right. Yes.
Okay, you are creative every day doing something
Yes.
creative.
Yep. Yep.
Making something happen every day,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
it's probably something different every day.
Absolutely. That's what drives me. That's the joy of life.
Yeah.
Making it happen. Something different every day. I was just making some stuff happen this morning.
Hold on. Can you still hear me?
I hear you,
Yeah.
but you a lot lower.
Hold on. I'm I'm experiencing some new
Technical
earbuds.
difficulties. It's okay. We waiting on you to come back because that was good
Okay.
stuff.
So I may have to. Is that better? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. You just lower than you were before. Before you were like in massive stereo sound, and now you kind of in that old fashioned analog thing.
Okay. Hold on. Let me see. I just resituated my earbuds and they said power off, and I'm like,
Oh
what?
man. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, so I love this conversation though, because I've I really believe there's a lot of people that feel like me. There's a lot of people that feel like me and probably have even additional wounds. Some have been through the physical abuse and sexual abuse, and things like that. They've been through the betrayal of a mate cheating. And so I think that those shutdowns, those emotional shutdowns and disconnections may run even deeper than me just looking back over relationships that didn't really go anywhere. But I also understand that, this life is a journey, it's not a destination. We journey through a lot of different experiences that make us who we are. And it gives us the ammunition to help build other people along the way. I share my experiences because I know that there are other people that are going through some of the same things I went through. I learned that when I went through my first heartbreak publicly, and I had I had three other women that had been through the were going through the exact same thing as me. In my first heartbreak, I moved to a different city because I thought the guy I was seeing that lived in that city, I relocated so that I could be near this person, and then found out I was the other woman once I relocated. Because yeah,
The other woman.
that long distance thing can get you set up. And there were literally, Miss Rita, three other women at the time that had moved. One had moved somewhere in Texas, but two of them had actually moved to Chicago too. And I said, these Chicago men just something else.
Wow. I didn't know you had that type of experience.
Yes, that's in my book. Yep. I moved to Chicago. I was going to relocate anyway, but after I met that guy, I decided I was going to relocate to Chicago because he always said, if you lived here, things could be different. So I was like, well, I'm about to move anyway. So, because I was going to move to Vegas because, I'll have event planning background. And of course, that would be the greatest place for me. But I said, I'm going to move to Chicago instead and see what happens. And I moved there and found out like maybe 2 weeks later that I was actually the other woman. And that was just devastating. And I had never had my heart broken before. So
So one of the things that I want to ask, was your heart broken or was your pride hurt?
I have to say it was both.
Okay.
Because, and so here's another thing I believe. I believe that when we get out of a relationship, when a relationship ends, and up until that relationship, I was always the one that had ended all my other relationships, aside from my husband being killed. I was the one that had broke off all the other relationships. So this was my first heartbreak. So it was a little bit of both. But I believe that I lost my train of thought just that fast. What did you ask me?
Was it your pride?
I believe it was a little bit of both. That's what I'm going to say. Because I had broke off all the other relationships. Now, this person was breaking it off with me, and I was the other woman. But when you leave a relationship, this is what I was going to say. Sometimes you're looking for, so the other relationship, there was a void. It was something you weren't getting in that other relationship, which is why you ended it, right? And so then when you find someone new and they're giving you everything that you weren't getting in that other relationship. And I think sometimes you're so overwhelmed with, because the relationship before him, he was a homebody, he was a video game junkie, we were sexually mismatched. It was just horrible. I couldn't take it no more. I was miserable. Then I met the new guy, and he was, he liked to go out and hang out, because I'm a people person. I like to go out sometime and be amongst the people. So he was smart. He was into real estate. That's one of my passions too. And so everything that wasn't in that previous relationship, I had in that relationship. And I probably overlooked some red flags, but when I think back on it, because I was out of state, I didn't see the red flags. I knew he had his kid every other weekend. So not seeing him every other weekend, I knew he had his kid, and I would still talk to him, but he also had a whole woman.
That live with the kid?
No. So that's the thing. Him and the girl he was with, they didn't live together. So when me and him would get together every other weekend, and he didn't live in Chicago. He lived in one of the outskirts in Bloomingdale,
Bloomington, yeah, Bloomingdale. Mm-hmm.
whatever that is out there. So he lived like 45 minutes away from the city. So we would meet in Chicago. So we would always stay in a hotel. So we weren't at either one of our houses because I was in Milwaukee at the time until I moved there. So yeah, I think it was so much stuff that I didn't get in the last relationship that I was getting in him until maybe I did overlook something. I don't know. But yeah, when I found out that there was a whole other woman and they had been dealing with each other off and on for 3 years. And then on top of that, Miss Rita, I moved to Chicago in July of 2009. And not only did I find out I was the other woman, but then I also found out that they were planning to get married in February.
Oh, oh. So this person was totally a jerk.
Yes. And so, and I didn't see any of that. I didn't see any of that. I didn't see any of that. So yeah, yeah, it the market
But
might be a little dirty.
now, so did you use your book for therapy? Like it really actually looking at what you learned inside of those relationships so that you could get your lessons so you don't have to repeat it?
I believe I did, but sometimes I don't believe we can always coach ourselves. I think we can get a better view. I think I get a clearer view. I know that there's a lesson. That's the
Yeah.
first thing. I know that there's a lesson.
Yes.
Okay. Because a lot of people are just like, this happened to me. That person was dirty. They always pointing the blame everywhere else. But I know that it's always something, it's a lesson for you, and it's something within yourself that
Yeah.
had you in that situation, something you need to take away from it. So in that sense, yeah, I look at it, like I said, it was partially my ego. Some things I think I have gone through because I needed to go through it in order to be able to relate to other people going through things in the capacity that I function. Because I'm
Yeah.
always talking to people about stuff. I
Yeah.
went through my heartbreak publicly. And like I said, there was like at least 10 other women that were actively going through heartbreak at the same time. One woman told me that I was lucky because I was in my 40s and it was my first heartbreak, you know. And she said her heart had been broken so many times she didn't know how it was still even functioning. And I was like, wow, you
Yeah,
know.
I can say that my heart, I can say my heart has been broken but expanded every single time that my heart has been broken, or the relationship has gone a different way than I wanted it to. I can feel the pain of it, but I can immediately see the gift on the other side.
Well, I won't say I could immediately see the
Yeah,
gift.
but well, it's taking some time now, like it's just like, okay, it's one of those, okay, I can feel it. I got it. And I love that after all of the heartbreak I've gone through, that I still open to feel, because your feelings are your detections for life. It's telling you how your life is going. So if you shut down pain, you're shutting down joy.
Mm.
There's no way you're going to tell life, okay, all I want is joy, but don't give me no pain. You can't have it, just doesn't work like that.
And when I look back and think about, you go back to the basics, it's that little girl who
Yeah.
wanted to be loved and wanted approval.
Mhm.
And sometimes I wonder, is that why I was in so many relationships? Now, I was in long-term relationships, so I don't want to put it out there, make it sound like I was like in all of these little short-term relationships, because the shortest relationship I was in was this last one, which was a year. The rest of them spanned from like 7 years, down to that 1 year. So they were all longer term relationships.
Mhm.
But sometimes I feel like I did that for the approval and validation,
Yeah.
and including the fact that I grew up in that era where you women, girls were expected to have a boyfriend or a man in their life, and if you didn't have one, much like today a little bit, but it's changing. If you didn't, and I remember one of my mom's friends when I was single one time, and she asked me, where was my boyfriend, and I said I didn't have one, at that moment anyway, and she's like, "What? You always have a man? This is my mama's friend."
Yeah. Okay. She
You
was
know.
trying to see if something wrong. Something wrong?
Right, right. It must be something wrong with you because you always have a man, like, and you supposed to have one, you
Mhm.
know. So I think all of that, and just really separating from those old school expectations and some of the hurts or pains of, my childhood and stuff, and just really coming to me. Because that's where I am now. I'm really coming to me. What does
Come on,
me,
girl.
what does
That's
me want?
right.
You know, I
Yes.
need to be solid and complete in myself before I try and share all of these broken fragments with somebody else.
Come on now.
Because if I'm giving you fragments, it's really easy for you to break me. So I need to be solid with myself, who I am, what I
Yeah, and,
am.
and not inside the expectation that a relationship is what makes you whole.
Exactly. No, because it's not. It
It's
is
not.
absolutely not what
Mm-mm.
makes you whole. As a matter of
Mm-mm.
fact, a relationship can be the worst thing if you're not whole because you're expecting somebody else to fill in them voids. And no, they probably broke it too. That's the
They are
issue.
broken, and they're broken and have no tools. At least when you go into a relationship, you have tools.
Right.
You don't have to get caught up the way some people who have not been doing the work, and that's what I mean. That's the uniqueness. So, is some people, when I'm talking to some people who've gone through just as much training as I have, I say, listen, I can talk to you like your friend. I can talk to you like your coach. I can talk to you like you've done Master Force. I can talk to you like you've done Landmark. I say, but I'm not going to sit here and talk to you like you a fool.
Right.
You know. Now, if you want to act like you refuse to take responsibility, I'll give you that for a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
you only get a few minutes
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because you have skills. You don't have to go sit and mope and moan the way the average person, like you said earlier. The average person, way beyond that.
Yes. Yep.
So
And
if you're moping and crying, that's because you're using that to get attention for yourself, or you just using that as your way of taking time off. Ain't nobody out here for me, so that's my excuse.
what was
Whatever.
that we used to say? You be stuck on your story because it gets you the
Yep.
attention or the sympathy that
Yep.
you're looking for. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Poor
Yeah, I
me.
don't want to be stuck on those stories.
No. And then if you're stuck on a story, no matter who the universe puts in your space, you can't see it or appreciate it or acknowledge it
Mm-hmm.
or accept it because your story has to survive. You have to be right about it. You got to prove that there's nobody out here for you. So if somebody shows up and they're for you, oh no, I can't like you because that goes against my belief system. We don't say it, but that's how we act.
I absolutely want to like somebody. I really do. And I am working on that. And you know what? It's a good thing that I didn't have 5 things I needed to correct because these 2 have pretty much taken up the show.
Right. And then, so let me go on and do the last 5 because people gonna say, "What? She can ready to do a third show on this?" Because I ain't heard now none 6 yet.
Okay, go ahead.
But this is great because number 6 is self-reliance and self-acceptance. Do
Okay.
you take care of yourself as a privilege? I hear people saying that they don't like to cook for themselves, they don't
Hmm.
like to clean for themselves, they don't like to do this for themselves, and the only thing they want to do is go and let somebody pamper them. Well, I promise you that is not a sign of love. Okay? Because taking care of yourself as though it's a privilege is high value. You know your worth. You know
Mhm.
that it's important for you to eat high quality nutrition,
Right.
your supplements, exercise, do something to move around, to do something to get your body moving. You have to be aware of that and do it. Be responsible for, like, I'm the only one who's gonna do this.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says the next question: Do you love even the things you call negative? So, people say, oh my God, I hate my body. You can't hate your body and love yourself at the same time.
Right.
You really can. You want to actually. There was this practice years ago, when I was in my younger years of doing training and development, where we used to have women, stand in the mirror naked and say, I love you. And that was the hardest thing for people to do,
Wow.
because what? We've been taught to criticize. Oh, my butt's too big. Oh, my thighs too big. Oh, my breast too big. Oh, that's what we do. And then we say, oh, but I'm healthy. No, you're not healthy because your thoughts are sending negative frequencies to every cell in your body.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to learn how to love even the things we may call negative, because actually all those are just labels. We can change them, and we can change them by our very speaking. And then, have you given up your need to be a victim? That's what we were just talking about. Poor me can't find a man. Poor me can't find a woman. Ain't nobody out here. It's piss in the dating pool. This is exactly why I don't date. I do readings. Are you even worth my time and energy?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We can't get past the first phone call if those readings don't say there's a connection from past life. I'm on past life stuff. I ain't doing nothing this lifetime because we have had to be building. That's what the state I'm in. Like, yeah, I'm good with you. I ain't starting nothing new over on this.
But Miss Ray, so you know what? Me and Samir have this conversation sometimes because he's into that too. He's checking the charts to see, what, why, and all of that kind of stuff. And
Right.
you did my reading with my ex, and you said that we have been through several past lives together, and
Yeah,
he was still a straight knucklehead.
yeah. Because he hadn't did any work. But imagine if you could have been able to teach him how to receive from you and show him how to do the work.
Mm.
See, what we do is we go into a relationship wanting the person to only give to us. And we're actually evaluating their ability to give to us.
Mm-hmm.
We're determining if they're should I even say something to him? No, we just sit there and judge with our hands out.
Mm-hmm.
Gimme, gimme, gimme. But actually, this is what I was talking about being vulnerable. You can show up in anybody's space and share authentically from your heart. That's a form of being vulnerable. How they choose, what they choose to do with that or not do with that is over there. But you've given of yourself in that space and time.
I think I do that. I just shut off access to me to some degrees.
Well, I think you do that when you say the whole conversation about being hurt.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, when you get to the point where you realize nobody can hurt you without your permission.
Well, I don't get permission.
Yeah, but so then, yeah. So that's a session right there because you want something right there. That's a whole nother thing. However, there's more to reading of the charts that let you know how many of those connections you have with that person that is compatible.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you and then those past life connections, some of them say, oh, you're here to complete something. Other ones say, oh, you're together in this lifetime because you didn't get a chance to be together in the last life. So it depends on what it is that you're completing with that person. That it may not be a romantic relationship. It could be a business relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it could be a project you guys are supposed to work on. It's a number of different. I mean, I told somebody, I said, I've met all my soulmates this lifetime. I'm good.
Oh wow.
Oh man, I met so many soulmates. Like, but that's inside of the conversation of the Queen of Spade, and I realized why my earlier life was so traumatic. I had to learn fast. Why? So I could teach everyone else, like you just said. Being able to share and talk to people on so many different levels makes a difference because of my experience.
Yes.
And I wouldn't trade that for the world. Somebody asked me if I would come back the same way. Absolutely, with all the pain, all the neglect, no
Mm.
parents, death at the door every day. Yes, I would come back because I love the person that I have become, finding myself through it all. I had the tools, and now I've created tools for other people to use.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so it makes a difference. And that's even why we're doing the show, because we want other people to open to love.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why the different topics that I chose for this show are what they are, because those are all things to help people grow.
Yeah.
And I specifically have a lot of relationship discussions because I honestly believe that your relationships, the condition of your heart, it kind of determines what you do with everything else. Because somebody was saying that, sometimes when you're going through heartbreak, you can't even think.
Oh, you can't think. Mm-mm.
You can't complete a project. You can't.
Especially if you're the victim. See, that's the difference. The difference between being a victim in a heartbreak and actually being someone who's just part of the experience. You can learn on the spot. A victim is part of somebody's doing something to me.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in the experience learning, you really are observing yourself and taking responsibility. Why did I attract this? What am I learning here? What is it I need to do to take care of myself right now? You see that? Other people aren't doing that when they usually, yeah. They wallowing in all of the past. If they had 10 heartbreaks before, they in all 10 heartbreaks right now.
Mm-mm. Man, you can't stay there. That's not good.
Well, people do it all the time because that's what they remember. I remember when so and so broke my heart. I never thought I'd never get it.
Yeah, I'm not even there anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
So number 6, self-reliance and self-acceptance. Work in that area to be true to yourself and not put so much on expectation on other people, right? Then number 7, inner peace.
Inner peace. That is so good.
Do you know how to self-comfort?
Mm.
Right? You ask somebody, what do you mean by self? I say, I didn't say self-pleasure.
That's good stuff too, though.
That's your other section. That's not this section, though. We're not on the exotic side, right? We're not talking Kundalini magic.
Ooh.
We're talking about being able to bring peace in your space when the world is chaotic.
Mm.
When things don't go your way, when you don't get what you want. I was on the radio show the other day with Kim, and we were talking about how adults throw these temper tantrums. Adults throw temper tantrums all the time.
Okay.
Instead of going into self-comfort. What is it that I need for myself in this moment?
Mm-hmm.
Have you made other people responsible for fulfilling your needs?
Mm-hmm. That's what most people do.
Yeah, you got to take care of me. The only way I know that I feel love is when you're doing something for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're not doing something for me and I'm not able to ask you for something, then there is nothing going on.
I think this is the part that I was talking about when I said, now I'm into, who I am, what I need. It's about being fulfilled within myself and not looking for it outside of myself.
Yes.
Because that's a pain in the butt looking for it outside of yourself. Because nobody can ever fulfill you outside of yourself. They don't know you like you know you.
That's right. It's unfair to make somebody responsible for that.
Right. They want you to make them happy.
Right.
Do you even know what makes you happy?
No, most people don't know what makes them happy.
And when I realized that, so
money. I know most people would say their job or money.
That's what they would say, but then you get money and you find that that's not what makes you happy still. The was it you that asked me? So when you've been in so many relationships, sometimes you lose yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got out of the relationship, the one before this last one, somebody asked me, what do you like to do? And I had been in that relationship for 3.5 years, and he was a truck driver. And so when he was home off the road, we didn't really do much, even though I do like networking events and stuff like that. But when that person asked me, what do you like to do? I didn't even remember.
Oh, wow.
I don't remember what I actually like to do, because I was always cooking and cleaning and catering to the relationship.
Yeah.
And my wants and needs were kind of being a little neglected. I had forgot who I was. And so I took a whole year hiatus to explore and figure out who I was again, outside
That,
of having a man, outside of,
yep.
my daddy's daughter, outside of all of that stuff. Who am I? What do I like to do?
There you go.
That was a whole project.
That's the whole project. You are a project. You the most important project you will ever work on.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, another thing inside of creating inner peace for yourself is that you need at least 3 daily rituals, hobbies, and or activities that are just for your joy.
Mm,
Whether it's dancing, listening to music. I like to crochet. I like to make stuff. I love my plants. Whatever it is, you need at least 3 daily rituals to give you a sense of yourself. Now, imagine if you had those 3 daily rituals in that relationship, you wouldn't have got lost.
right.
They would have the whole idea of those would have been to ground you, right? Keep you
Yep.
grounded. So
Yep.
we
That would
want to
make
make
sense.
sure, yeah, we want to make sure that we work on our own inner peace. And then the other one is creating healthy boundaries.
Mm,
Are
mm,
you able to say no when necessary?
mm-hmm.
Do you live and operate as a people pleaser? And that's what most people do in relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you everything you want. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that is not good for children or adults. All right? You don't have to give anybody everything they want. They have to be able to do that for themselves. We were just talking about that, right?
I
And then,
said that to somebody one time.
what'd you say?
I said, I would have gave you everything.
Mm-mm.
And then when it came out my mouth, I said, well, no, that's not true. But my intentions are good.
Right. Uh-huh.
It sounded
Thought about it. Yeah, I think I'm telling you, we are so Hollywood whipped. We love the Hollywood conversations and the romance, and we just want to be able to say that to somebody and feel it like we feel.
right.
And then you say it, and then you be like, "No, that
Yeah.
that didn't come out right," because I know doggone well I wasn't gonna get
Nope. When I heard myself say it, I looked, I was like, yeah, well, that's not really true. But
right. At least you know it.
yeah, I thought it for a minute. Is that good enough?
No, no, because you can't, even if you wanted to. I remember being in a relationship. I was so crazy about this guy, and he could not imagine that he could be with a woman like me. He said, and I then it dawned on me, yeah, right. He can't be with you. He doesn't even think he's worthy of you.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, I don't care how much you like or love somebody. If they do not think that they can fit you into their life, it's just not gonna work.
Yep. 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 And sometimes people don't say it out their mouth, but you can tell by their actions that they really don't feel like they belong with you, that they fit in your world, or
Yeah.
that you fit in theirs for whatever the reason might be.
Whatever the reason, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my favorite song for him. Every time I see him, I'd be so excited. Hey, and then this song, I keep forgetting and I love
We're not in love anymore. Things will never be the same again.
never be the same. Like, no, why you stop coming around? I said, I'm busy. I'm doing my life. Right. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But that's when you're clear, you have to constantly look to see where you're clear for yourself, and that you're not operating as a people pleaser and trying
Mm-hmm.
to have them like you and want you just because
Mm-hmm.
you like or want them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then the other thing about healthy boundaries, are you able to be alone for long periods of time?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
part of that self-comforting thing, right? So you,
Mm-hmm.
you got to be able to sustain your own space, your own light, You know, I know a lot of people, they gotta go out of town and they want to be in the bed the whole time. I can't move while he's gone. I can't do
Oh,
anything. My life doesn't work.
oh Lord.
Yeah, codependency. Read this book, Codependency No More. Okay, there you go. Read that book.
Man, that's, and I think sometimes people, they don't like themselves. That's why
No.
they don't want to be alone with themselves. They always got to have somebody.
Mm-hmm.
They got to have somebody because they really don't like who they are. And
Validation.
when you alone, you have to deal with yourself. You have to deal with your thoughts. You don't have nobody in the room talking to you about all the other fun and exciting things they have going on in their life that they want to include you in, which gives you validation. You got to
Mm-hmm.
sit there and think about your own life. Okay, like I'm sitting here and what? And they don't like that.
They don't like that.
So
And
they
they don't
need
like the way
somebody else.
it makes them feel. They don't want to be responsible for their own shadow, for the own damage they've done. Yeah, I remember I broke this guy's heart so bad in college, so bad. And he was a good guy. And I broke his heart so bad out of my own ignorance of myself. And I saw him years later and I tried to apologize. He wouldn't even look at me.
Ooh,
And we
wow.
were with a group of friends and he, talked to everybody else. And I just wanted to let him know that it wasn't about him. It was me. You know what I'm saying? Like it was my ignorance, completely my ignorance. And but he wouldn't even talk to me. He wouldn't have a
Wow.
conversation. He wouldn't look at me. And feeling bad is not going to fix it. I just had to let it go and just really forgive myself and learn. Learn from it because the way I did him, I did not want to be that kind of a person in a relationship. I did not want to be how I treated him. You
Wow,
know,
I can't imagine you hurting somebody like that. But
Girl.
I am around for the later version of you, not the version.
Listen, it took a long time for me to get to a point where I would let people end the relationship on me because, like, if I see us get ready to end, let me take myself out of it.
Okay, you was gonna get out first.
I was gonna get out first. Right? It took me a while before I started I've been my heart will break so easily, right? Because I'm fully available. And what people call broken heart is not even that. It's the expansion. There's something about who we are that we protect, and we have such a armor on it. Nobody's gonna get into that space, and the universe sends us someone that they know can get into that space.
Mm, mm, mm.
And they get into that space, and we keep trying to protect it. And this person is going to get into that space. Why? Because this is the agreement. Remember, Rob Schwartz's book, Your Soul's Plan. We
Mhm.
plan these relationships. And the plan was if I get to 60 and I haven't been fully loved and available, you got to show up and help me to see where I'm still stuck. That person going to show up.
Mm. Oh Lord.
Yeah, it's an agreement, and that don't mean that they're happy ever after. They're here to remind us to keep living, you know. So now, number 9.
Okay.
Are you willing to grow and to change? Are you willing to grow and to change? And I have people tell me all the time, I ain't changing for nobody.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, that's not a good look. The only constant in life is change.
Absolutely.
You see how these trees do? I mean, just wait. Give them about 60 days. They changing all the time. The weather's
Hmm.
changing all the time. That's why I try not to be a person. I can't do this because it's snowing and rain. No, if I have to do something, I'm doing it. I'm gonna make sure I have all the gear and looking cute while I'm at it.
There you go.
But we have to be willing to grow and to change. So the question is, how often do you learn something new?
Hmm.
Challenge yourself. Do something different. Don't always do the same thing. Get out of that rut. That is the most boring thing you can do to your life is to do the same thing every day without adding something new.
Right.
Do you challenge yourself or do you just quit? Something is hard. I ain't doing that. I ain't doing. I can do one push up. Don't ask me to do 10.
Man, those are the most beneficial challenges when you physically challenge yourself.
Oh
Well,
my goodness,
that's
I've
the
been
good
doing
stuff
that,
right there.
girl. Yes, I love it.
Not the hardest challenge when you challenge yourself to get rid of squirrels that's trying to get in the house.
Oh, you better get you some coyote pee.
Is that what I need?
Yeah, baby, some raccoon pee, something to put around there. Yes. Although they might, although they might be like all the other things, peppermint. You know, mice don't like peppermint, roaches don't like peppermint, bed bug spray everywhere. Peppermint. When I go on vacation, I take me a bottle of peppermint with a little spray, and I'm gonna spray that corner in that room to make sure there's no things coming towards me.
When I got to get the water outside fixed, I'm gonna get me a nice water hose. I got the hose, but one of those nozzles. And when I
Oh
hear
yeah.
that little sucker scratching, because I can hear him scratching, trying to do something. I don't know what he's trying to do. I'm gonna go out there and attack him with that water hose. He
Are
gonna
you
do
sure
nothing.
it's a squirrel and not a raccoon?
It's a squirrel. I've seen it. They
Oh
had torn this. I was gone for a while. I don't want to get too far into this, but I was gone for a while. So over those 3 years, different things happened to the house because nobody was really here taking care of it. So I'm, catching up. I got the soffits and everything fixed, but there's this one squirrel that refuses to leave my roof alone.
yes.
We're gonna fight.
Oh, well, you can do become a squirrel, what do you call those people? Whisperer, and send a message to the squirrel from your heart to the squirrel's heart and ask him to stop chewing on your house. And then maybe leave him some food out every now and then.
I'm gonna
I'm
send him
just
a
saying.
message. I'm gonna get that water.
That's violent communication, if I may say so. That is violent communication. We have to learn how to live with the animals. If
We are
they in
not.
the house, that's different. But out of the house, we have to kind of work with them. But in the house, yeah, you dead meat.
I'm gonna blast that mug so hard that water gonna knock it
Oh
clear on the
no,
other
no,
side of the
oh
room.
no. We sending love and light to you. We don't want to blast the mug. Oh my God.
you, you said we don't want to blast the mug. We gonna blast that mug.
The other day, my grandson, my 5-year-old grandson, was sitting there watching me chop up lettuce and stuff for a salad. And I'm making this big old bowl because it's, a lot of us, right? Big old silver bowl full of salad. And I'm throwing stuff in. He said, Mima, there's a bug. Girl, I almost cut myself, jumped.
Oh
I
my God, I would have to.
said, a bug? Where is it? Show it to me. Where'd it go? And I'm looking for a big, a bug to me is always a big black water bug. I don't care if it's a fly with it. You say bug, that's what it's about here, right? And he said, look, it's a ladybug.
Oh my God.
I said, oh, he's trying to get in our salad.
It made you go through all that stuff for a late bug.
All that with the ladybug.
Lord have mercy.
Then his mother came and she picked it up and let him put it on him and take him outside and I laughed so hard. I said, "Do you see yourself?"
Mm-mm. And see, I would have thought it was a spider.
See, right. And I'm one of those don't kill spiders because they're good for the environment, right? But
Yep. Yep.
so
I
so
have a
yeah,
few that I let live around here, but
I let them live, right? Now, we were talking about being willing to grow into change. So I'm going to ask you to be willing to grow into change with the squirrel. Okay, and then go onto YouTube and read and listen to ways to naturally get rid of squirrels. Okay, they even have frequencies that you can put up. So you can go to YouTube and ask for the get rid of squirrel frequency, and you can play that sound, and it'll make them go away. Okay.
Hmm.
Yes, I'm all for it. Let's take care. Long if they get in the house, we can kill them, but outside we got to work with them. Okay.
If I could find a frequency to get rid of the squirrel, I'll do that. I
Yeah.
sit it right by where I hear him scratching.
Yep. Yep. I would try it. Okay, so we getting down to the wire. So here, so this is still number 9, being willing to grow and to change. And the third question is, what is in your way right now?
Mm.
Like, what is in your way? What is stopping you from being fully available and present in your life? Like right now, what is stopping you? And I don't want you to say, "Oh, if I had a guy or if I was in a relationship." That's not what I'm asking for. Because whatever it is that you think that guy or relationship is going to provide, you can actually do that for you right now too.
Mm-hmm.
You want somebody to go hang out with? I used to go and go to restaurants and eat by myself and meet the most amazing people.
Yep.
Oh, people come, the table come and sit next to me. Next, you know, they inviting me over to their table to meet their friend. I mean, it was just, you know, I've shared plenty of my January 2nd birthdays with strangers because none of my friends were ever available. They wouldn't be, you know, it's too cold. Don't nobody want to party with you on your cold birthday. So, you know,
Oh yeah, you are in the cold. That's for
I'm in the
sure.
cold. I would go to a bar. I said somebody at a bar celebrating, you know. I go
Yep.
to a bar and find somebody else whose birthday is on my birthday. You know, join that party. You know, but that's we have to figure out what is in our way from being present in our own life right now. You know, and then maybe you need to turn the TV off and go for a walk. Go visit a museum. Go to the Art Institute. Go walk in nature. Go outside and just see how many times you can say hi to people and look them in the eye. You know, that's being willing to grow into change so that you can expand yourself instead of waiting for this one person to love you. Right? And now we're getting to number 10.
Uh-oh.
Number 10, enhance your listening skills.
Ooh.
You ever notice people talking and neither one is listening?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're looking and going, well, they're not even arguing because they actually agreeing. They actually saying the same thing, just different.
Mm-hmm. But nobody's listening.
But nobody's listening. So we want to learn how to listen by practicing observing without judging. So we can hear what the person is actually saying and then look at it without saying, oh, that's good or that's bad. It doesn't have to be good or bad. It's just what
Right.
they're saying. You don't have to agree with it or disagree with it. It's just giving you an aspect of them and giving you an idea, their perspective. You don't have to agree with it. You don't even have to. It's like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. That's what you think, huh?
Right.
That's it, right?
Yep. That is it.
Most of the time, what we're doing is trying to make ourselves, you know, the one up. I know more than you. I'm right. What you're saying is obsolete. Uh-uh. Nobody is. What they're telling you is who they are. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're getting to know that person, you want to observe because this is where the red flags show up in your conversations. They're telling you who they are. So you want to listen and feel what they're saying. And this is the difference. A lot of men don't feel. A lot of men know that we feel, so they'll say everything that we want to hear.
Yep.
Just, you know, score. And then I ain't say that. I know exactly what you said. You know, you want to say
Yep.
you want to say you didn't say it. Now I get to see who you really are as a person.
Mm-hmm.
You're irresponsible. You're
Mm-hmm.
not taking your word is not your bond.
Right.
I'm not going to rely on what you say
That's
because
right.
you're not authentic, right? You can see all that, observe it without judging. Doesn't mean good, bad, or ugly, but I know not to put all my eggs over there
Right.
because you're not going to even remember those are my eggs. You're mixing them with somebody else.
Uh-huh. can't give you put all my eggs with you in your basket.
You got everybody, Susie and Jane's eggs over there too.
Everybody eggs in there. You been
You
gave
ain't
my
even
eggs
looking.
back.
You just reaching for an egg. You ain't even paying attention if it's mine or somebody else.
Right.
Yeah, my eggs ain't gonna be in your basket,
That's
okay?
right.
You
That's
keep
right.
you keep them all there what you want, right?
And then be done told you that he never did have your eggs.
Oh, you didn't give me your eggs. No, well, you didn't have room for them for one thing. But look, we have to attempt to listen to people without the need to defend ourselves. People can tell us things. They can say, I don't like when you don't answer the phone when I call. Okay. Really? Okay. Now that don't mean that I'm gonna answer the phone.
I know. I know.
I just heard you say you don't like it. I got that. Okay.
That's why I'm laughing. I'm like, I heard you.
I heard you.
It's not going to change anything, but I hear you.
And maybe we can agree on the time that you call, and I know that that's your time to call, and then I'll be like, okay, I'll answer the call because I could be doing 10,000 things when you call. I promise you, I'm not gonna stop what I'm doing to run to my phone. I just
That's
don't
right.
operate like that.
Right. I try and tell people that all the time. I am not one of those people that walk around with my phone in my hand all the
No.
time. I'm doing too many things. So if you call while I'm not at my desk, then you can either leave a message, drop me a text, or wait till I call you back because I'll see your message.
Yeah.
I'll see that I missed a call at some point when I check them.
Yes.
But yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sitting there with my phone that, oh, who's calling, who's texting me. No, I'm not. Mm-mm.
And then people call you because they want you to do something for them. And I done told everybody, I am not sitting here twiddling my thumbs waiting for an assignment.
Oh, right.
That's not what's going on over here.
Exactly. I'm the go-to person for about 1,000 people. So I'm not trying to answer my phone. You know what I'm like? Y'all gonna have to leave a message, send an email, something that I can get back to.
Right. Right.
Not something that I'm gonna rush it. And now I'm responding to 1,000 phone calls. No.
Right. Like my youngest daughter yesterday, she calls me. She's like, Mom, what you doing? I said, I'm working. What you think I'm doing? She said, you busy? I said, I'm working. What you think I'm doing? I'm like, what's up? Such and such is stranded out at the bank. Can you go pick them up and take them home? No, I cannot. That person is an adult. And if
Get
they
an
made it to the
Uber.
bank, they needed to make sure that they had a plan to get back to their house. So
Yes.
no, I can't do that.
No. But that's how you have to do. You have to really make sure that people honor your space, honor your time, honor who you are, just as much as you're going to honor their space and them too.
Right. Right.
Can't be one way.
And I definitely do that. But it just really gets me how people think just because you work from home,
you're always available.
Right. They forget that you work from home.
And my job looks very different from everybody else's job. Okay.
Right.
So you can't determine for me what I need to be doing at such and such a time.
Exactly. Exactly. Because you might see me running around to different venues. It looked like I'm just wandering around the city, but I'm actually scouting out sites for upcoming events that you don't know about.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, don't follow you because they would be very confused.
Oh yeah, they would be. Here's the thing. I'm gonna say it real quick because we definitely running out of time now. When I was young, I said, you know what? Ideally, when I get older, I want to be able to just work from wherever I am. Whether I'm on a beach somewhere, whether I'm at the house. I want to, as long as I got a phone and internet, I can work. And that's what I created for me.
That's what I created for me too. I sure did.
So I could be sitting at Starbucks sipping on a mocha frappe, and I could be working.
That's right.
Money could be going into my account, but it looked like I'm chilling, playing on the internet. That's what they think I do.
That's what people think I do. Like I have no care. You're so carefree. When actually I care a lot and very deeply. However, I live very openly and very free. That's what the balance is.
And then our kids are grown.
Yes. Can you imagine that? I did not see this coming. I did not see all of this open space in my life after you were empty nester. Do you hear
Oh my
me?
goodness.
Like they don't tell you that one day you're gonna get to have all your time back.
Yes, yes. Like if somebody, so one time a friend of mine from DC, the Cowboys was playing out on the East Coast, called me and said, "Hey, I got a ticket waiting for you at the airport. Can you be at the airport at such and such in the morning?" I said, "Absolutely, I can."
Yes, I
I didn't
keep
have to get
saying
no babysitter. I ain't had to tell
no,
nobody what I was doing. All I had to
no.
do was pack my little bag and head my little butt on to the airport.
And I'm one of those people that I am everybody's favorite third and fifth wheel. You know, they'd be like, "Go call your friend Rita." She'll go, "Yep, I'm ready." You
Yep.
know, pick up Rita. Yep, I'm ready. We
I
got an extra
love
ticket.
that.
Yep, here I come. You
I
know,
love that. I love the ability to move around. And
yes,
that's another thing that I think actually kind of keeps me a little disconnected from the whole relationship idea. Because when you're in a relationship, you got to consider other people's feelings, their wants, their needs, their desires, you know. And I could get up and go and do when I want to get up and go and do. I don't have to say, baby, you know what? Did you have anything planned for this weekend? Because I'm gonna run off with my girls. You always gone with your girl. I don't want to hear that.
no, right. But I think that that'll balance out too, because in those type of relationships, they're gonna be someone who wants to be with you too, and they're gonna, I'm coming. Wait for me, baby.
I
Or
do.
I
I
have
want somebody
tickets.
that I could travel with like that.
Right.
It would be great to find a guy that had the same setup
That's
that
all I'm
I
saying.
have.
And he'd be
Yep.
like, "Oh, baby, I had tickets for us. I was trying to surprise you." I bet you'd be telling your girlfriend's
Yep.
body.
I'd be like, okay, girl, no, I ain't going this time. You
Mm-mm,
can't
But
think
yeah,
about
when
me next
Jill
time.
Scott say, "Baby, I'm gonna have to catch y'all next
Me
week."
and my boo headed out to wherever we headed out to.
Okay, wait. This is the last one. The last 3 minutes. Okay, the final way to enhance your listening skill is to stop giving unsolicited advice.
Uh-oh.
Stop giving unsolicited advice. And there's a number of reasons why this is important. For one thing, we want people to grow inside of their connection to their soul. You have a soul plan inside you. And the only way that you get to know that is through your own quiet time, your solitude, your meditation. If you're going to everybody and asking them, hey, or if you're giving people, you hear them talking the first thing, well, let me tell you what you should do. If they didn't ask you, you do not get to tell them. You don't get to tell people what to do because you don't know how many other people have did that with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people, if don't ask me for my opinion because people pay me for my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I don't just freely give my opinion. I have to know that you have just as much vested interest in what I'm about to tell you because that's the gift. The knowledge that I'm going to bestow on you is only good to you if you use it.
Right.
Hearing is not going to make any difference. So I will keep my opinions to myself. But when we're listening to people and we're not trying to offer them advice, we can honestly hear where they are. Some people just want to talk about their disease and have people feel for them. They don't want to let it go. It's a part of who they are. It's their story.
Yep. Stuck on their story. Well, this has been very enlightening for me, and I'm sure everyone else. This is definitely something that everybody could relate to. So we are right at 129.
Ooh,
This
we did it.
this show
Yay.
went pretty quick, and we actually still got through all 10. I really enjoyed this
And
show.
I was scared that we weren't going to do that because we started off going through a session, did we
I
not?
know, right? And I'm just like, okay, how did we get here? But I guess this is what the universe aligned for me today. So when is your next show?
August 4th, I will be talking to you, and I'm coming from you this month from Detroit. Is no telling where I will be next month, but it will be August 4th.
Where in the world is Miss Rita? That's what we should call your show. Ain't no
Okay.
telling. All right. Well, you have any final words for your listeners before we wrap it on up?
Yes, my final words to you are to continue to open your heart. Stop acting like you know what life is supposed to be like and discover something new.
Mm, I like that. Okay. I'm gonna take heed to that.
Yes, let's have some
Mhm.
fun today. I'm getting ready to go to the park with my grandbabies.
Oh, that sounds so good. I can't wait to go with mine. Okay, Miss Rita, well, you enjoy the rest of your day and
Thank
hug
you.
them grandbabies and just love on them.
I will.
I
All
know you
righty.
will.
We'll
All
see you
right.
tomorrow.